Hello, my love. Let's see what kind of a message we randomly have for today. What kind of conversation does Spirit, the universe, our higher selves, our ancestors, our own inner guidance system, what does it want to say to us today? I'm Kristen. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much if you're returning, and welcome if you're new here. All right. We have the energy of regeneration. There's recently been a time in the very recent past where you've been letting go of a lot of what is no longer necessary. You've been shedding very much like a snake. So this letting go feels very somatic in nature. It's a visceral feeling. You feel like you're actually letting go. And in that, you're creating space for new to come in. Perhaps there's been a lot of a reevaluation. At the moment, we have Venus in retrograde and Mercury just in retrograde. So there's a lot of reevaluation of what fits. And often we can be in a place where we're deciding, okay, we want to keep something, but we need to adjust it. And this doesn't feel like that. It feels like that burning down the house quality. Just really like walking out of the house. And you know, this really touches into that whole spirit of like the home within. So any events, relationships that were stuck in the body, perhaps they were somewhat traumatic, challenging, you know, they could have been very life-changing. They're part of your resilience, part of your strength, part of your character and who you are now. And as a fully integrated whole being, you've got all the lessons within your wisdom, within the intelligence of your body. You no longer need to physically hold on to literal shit that's just holding you down. Perhaps you've been feeling a kind of lack of energy lately. There's a message here for someone who needs to change a little bit what they're eating. Look into caffeine and lowering it, energy drinks, any kind of substances that might be taking away your energy, but perhaps things that you were doing to, you know, if I could just have some energy, I could just do this, I could just get through this. If I, you know, created this bit of distraction for myself. And it's okay. I think it was very much needed, but now in order to regenerate, you really need to look at fully, which can feel very confronting sometimes. But you have the strength to confront. Don't let this accumulated stuck energy, these accumulated stuck events, relationships, let them take up space in your body any longer. You know, what ritual or what can you do for yourself to even just symbolically, you know, clean the house, clean your home within. Energy of something or someone on your mind, just another energy of something or someone on your mind. Obsession. So this other energy, be it a person, be it a situation, an environment, has a certain kind of obsession, obsessive attached to it. It's very passionate. Perhaps this was something that you were very obsessed with for a very long time. You were obsessed with this person, place, or thing. And it's part of what you're letting go in order to create actual space in your body and mind and in your heart for something newer to come in, something that's more in alignment with all the personal growth and self-awareness that you've been on this journey of, that you've been tuning into, that you've been, processing through. And sometimes it takes a very long time. Perhaps you have been obsessed with your own personal growth, and there are people, situations in your life that, they don't care so much about these things. And it's almost like, someone is looking at you like, well, how come you're obsessed with, oh, I know what this is. You've come into clarity. You've come into a deep clarity where you're really seeing pieces of the puzzle come together. And it's like things are coming in from years ago. All of a sudden you have clarity, and it's sort of like collapsing levels of clarity where things from last week to last year, and even a little beyond, are beginning to make sense. And perhaps you're talking about this a lot, and there's an environment, a group of people, a person, where it's like you almost seem obsessive, and it's like, it's a gaslighting, even if it's unconscious and it's not meant to be hurtful, but there's this other that sees your clarity as obsessive. And it can be very, very challenging and confusing, especially if people have been in your life, a situation has been in your life, a workplace has been in your life for a very long time. But it's sort of, I feel like there's this bleeding out. It's like in that, if you ever saw any of those period films, Sense and Sensibility, at the end of the film, one of the sisters is sick, and so they're bleeding her out, because back in the day, that's what they did to get rid of illnesses. And there's a bit of things are pouring out of you. You could find yourself feeling heat within the body a lot. You also might want to work out and exercise a little bit more, even just walking a little bit more, whatever you can do to help this process of detoxification. And here on this other side, I think that, other people, other situations, they're obsessed with their own lives. They're obsessed with their own self. My aunt used to have this saying, no one's thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves, just like you are. And so often what can feel as it's very confronting, or you don't feel understood by someone, they could be at a place where this could be a situation that, has tapped into its ability to grow any further. It's tapped out. They're not going to go deeper. The situation is not going to go deeper. And it doesn't mean the person or the situation has to completely leave your life. It's just, you have to understand that you're in a regeneration process. It's like pruning, right? It's like pruning, the leaves, that are dying or have died to make room for new life. It's about, weeding the garden, weeding what could have been once very beautiful and thriving, but is no longer, and to kind of wish that it would. Sometimes we want to regenerate something that its time has passed. It's not coming back into full bloom. It's time to create a space, create a void, create a portal, create space for the light to come shining down in and to nurture the new seeds. And it could take a little bit of time. you could be just dealing with people and environments that just have an obsessive quality. They're just, people could be, this is also coming through as a certain kind of adversarial. And you know how sometimes we can be friends with people sometimes, but there's just this quality, they'll just say things to us that either a little bit are unkind, or, a little bit gaslighty, or, sometimes it comes in the guise of saying, well, I have to be honest with you, I have to be direct, when it's really kind of unnecessary, when really they're obsessed with their own they have a lack of self-worth, self-understanding, self-knowledge, and they might become obsessed with, researching different things that might improve their life, but then never taking action on any of them because they're too scared. Like they might want to take a certain vacation somewhere, or they might want to do a certain kind of procedure, or do a certain kind of diet, or some kind of new thing, and they're the kind of, they'll obsess about getting things right or have it be perfect. They're obsessed about always having an excuse about why they can't do something because it's not the right time, or having just some kind of an excuse or an explanation, or they keep putting out decoys and obstacles. And energetically, we're taking that in. So it becomes, their stuff becomes lodged in our bodies. Their stuff becomes lodged in your body. So it's like we're dealing with our own stuff from our own life, and then we get hit with this other obsessive energy, and it could really just be time to just not talk to someone, or just not engage with someone, or limit your engagement, or limit your time at a certain place. Let's go into the tarot. 7 of Pentacles in reverse. So this is talking about that reevaluation, and perhaps this is something that you've been delaying or putting off reevaluating for a long time. I think that this is also, you didn't know that these were things that needed to be reevaluated. You might just be coming into, I haven't been looking at that clearly. Or literally you just could be just recently, just now, like just in the next few days, coming into a certain kind of clarity where you're like, oh wow, I have to reevaluate that. Or this situation with this other energy, like I didn't see how just kind of adversarial or toxic or codependent that was. And I do believe for some of you there was this inkling. I mean, I've been there, where you have an inkling about someone or something, and you just kind of continuously let it go because it's not convenient, or you're not ready to. The comfortability of it, the security of it, it's somehow tied into survival and security and making things work. Perhaps like, well, my business won't work without this person or without this team, or I have to have this person do this specific thing for me. I have to have them be my team member. I have to create with them. Otherwise, I'm not gonna get what I need, and I'm gonna fail. And I think you're coming into realization, or you're coming into the insight right this second that, oh, wait a second, I really have to kind of get down with the truth that there's something about this other energy, person, environment, situation that makes me feel yucky. It just makes me feel yucky. You have that where you have to talk to someone or go somewhere and you just feel like, ugh, like you feel like all the energy is drained out of your body. Like you don't know how you're gonna get through it. Or it's like, but I have to keep this connection healthy. I need this person, or I have to have this thing happen for me on this other person, this other environment I need to get this thing from it. So I've got to keep this thing. I have to put my energy into it. I have to somehow keep the illusion that it's okay going for myself. And the illusion is being broken right now that this is not okay. It's not okay as it is. 2 of Cups, 6 of Pentacles. You're seeking reciprocity, and what's coming in for you is reciprocity in relationships where there is a give and take. Everyone's allowed to have their yeses, and everyone's allowed to have their nos. There are clear, fluid boundaries in these new relationships. These things that you have already been creating, that are in your life right now. Perhaps there is a stark contrast between what you have recently what you're bringing in right this second, with what this old stuff is. And maybe it never hit you. Like, wait a second, it can all be this way. Does my relationship with this other friend in my life, or this other work associate, or this other family member, does that make me feel like all my energy is being drained from my body, or does that uplift me? Do I uplift them? Is it a two-way street? Where nobody feels like they're enabling each other. Where people are honest with each other. And the honesty is welcomed, that even saying the things that are hard to say can create a deeper level of intimacy with this new relationship. This is what you've brought in. This is what you are bringing in and are capable of, because it's what you want. And you are regenerating, dropping, detoxifying. Even just imagining yourself saying goodbye to these people. Imagine like you are the observer, observing them. And to celebrate and to honor any relationships and situations that were there for you when you needed them, when that was the exact right thing, that was where you were, right? That was the clarity you had, that was the knowledge you had, that was the amount of self-awareness, personal growth you had, that was where you were on the journey. It served you really well. It gave you a sense of belonging. And now that has shifted. It can be difficult to let go. But it's also very creative. And in that creation is the freedom. You're not going to bring in what you really want if there's no space. And creating the space can feel very challenging. There can be grief attached to it. And also the grief for yourself as you understand, and accept where you have been, and where you think you might have done better, or how come I didn't understand that earlier. And you can have feelings for the person who you were and honor them. 4 of Wands, again, creation as the foundation for a structure that feels more free, that is full of passion, that is full of exuberance, that is full of sisterhood, brotherhood. Ten of Wands, 10 of Pentacles. This came up in another reading this week. Not quite sure which one. So the energy is definitely there of this lack of energy and the recognition of, what we often need to sacrifice to make room for what we really truly want to manifest and bring into our life. And it can feel like a sacrifice at first, even though we know we need to make the room for something else. This is about what legacy, what is my own personal lineage that I am creating and that I will leave, that will be here long after I have gone. It's a long journey home after a lot of hard work on yourself, and in the middle of that, constantly regeneration process, right? Because it can be many seasons of, many moons of these different cycles. And it's taken you a while to shed. And along the way, you have created a foundation for the new life, for the new existence, for the new way. You have accumulated the new behaviors and thought patterns, and they're there waiting for you. Because you love yourself more, because the person that you connected with deeply was yourself. And because you were able to connect to yourself, have compassion for yourself, nurture yourself, you were able to really go down deep, understand, know that you have to reevaluate, understand where you're not giving to yourself, where you're being stingy with yourself, where you're letting your own, energy sort of seep out of you like a balloon. Perhaps it's like there was a little, it's like in a tire where there's a little pinprick and you don't notice that the air is leaking, but then over time the tire goes completely flat. Six of Pentacles. Giving to yourself and noticing that there are people in your life that really want to give to you. Creating your own lineage. And the journey home has been lit the entire way. You've been lighting your own way through the darkness the entire time. You are willing to, take this journey with very little with you. So now it's just time to shed the rest. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for hearing this message with me today. Thank you for stopping by. I hope that I see you again very, very soon. Give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel a lot. And please subscribe if you are curious and want to hang out more. I would love to connect with you more. All right. Have a great day. Bye.